Tonight, a humble priest from Argentina, now the leader of the world's Catholics. Australia's Catholics offer prayers to the new Pope and a new dawn. Leadership spill, the political rumour mill in overdrive. Defending the drug claims, now Manly hits back. And the striking portrait picked for the Packers Prize at the Archibalds.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. History has been made in Rome with the appointment of a new Pope. Pope Francis from Argentina will lead the Catholic Church. The news greeted with a roar of celebration from the faithful in St Peter's Square. We have coverage tonight from the Vatican and reaction here in Sydney. We begin with Europe correspondent Peter Stefanovic.
It seemed like the world was waiting, that ancient chimney delivering a resounding message. As white smoke rose from the Sistine Chapel, the bells of St Peter echoed through the Eternal City. A result much earlier than expected, but the world's 1 billion Catholics had a new leader. A vast sea of people stretched back from the basilica and cameras flashed like diamonds. The Pope's identity was still a mystery, and for another hour, the faithful waited patiently in the wet and the cold until the lights turned on behind the balcony of St Peter's.
Habemus Papam. Sancte Romani Ecclesiae Cardinalem Bergoglio.
But another surprise was in store. A first Latin American elected pontiff, Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio from Argentina. He wore a simple white cassock, discarding the traditional red robe, and with a plain wooden cross he emerged to a roar from the crowd. This was a night for history, the first non-European pope in more than 1,000 years, and the first to take the name Francis.
Fratelli e sorelle, buonasera.
Brothers and sisters, good evening. As you know, the conclave's purpose was to give Rome a new pope. It seems my cardinal brothers went to the end of the world to get one.
Pope Francis was calm personified, humble, understated, the attributes of his namesake, St. Francis.
Now we begin, Pope and people together. This walk through the Church of Rome, which leads the way for all churches. This a path of fraternity, love and faith between us. Let's pray for one another, for all the world.
And as he looked down on an adoring crowd, he must have thought how wonderful it all was.
It was amazing. He stood there as a simple man dressed in white, and the crowd just went crazy. He chose Francis. Francis was the first poor man from Assisi. St. Francis also is St. Francis Xavier, another St. Francis, who brought the gospel to Japan and Asia. So he is going to be a pope who is a pope on the world scene.
This is incredible for us. I think our previous Holy Father, Pope Benedict, who we all loved, he left us in a beautiful way, and I think our new Pope, Pope Francesco, has joined us in a most beautiful way as well.
Pope Francis proclaimed his fellow cardinals went to the end of the world to find him. Now the world will watch and hope he's the right man to lead a divided church and free it from so many dark and troubled days.
Peter Stefanovic is at the Vatican. Pete, how will Pope Francis spend his first day?
Well, his first full day on the job, Pete, will be much more low-key than it has been over the past couple of days, that's for sure. A great chunk of the day will be spent privately. He may attend a mass in the middle of Rome before returning to the Sistine Chapel later on today, local time. That's where he'll attend a mass with his fellow cardinals, those same cardinals who elected him pope, as well as other cardinals who were too old to vote. Now, we are finding out plenty more about this new pope as Denham Hitchcock reports.
Only 2 days ago, then Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio was praying for the future of the church. Today, his colleagues decided he was it.
there's a sense of relief on all of us and a sense of peace and serenity because, once again, Jesus is taking care of his church.
The Argentinian has a humble story. The son of a railway worker, one of 5 children. He studied chemical engineering and philosophy, but at the age of 22 he entered the church and never left. These days will seem far behind him soon, but even as a cardinal he lives simply, taking the bus to work, flying economy class, cooking his own meals in a modest apartment and visiting the slums of Buenos Aires.
Now, I don't think you're going to find him on the 64 bus here in Rome for security reasons, but I think he'll live that simple, prayerful life that I think you got a feel for tonight.
But for a simple man, he's well connected. Presidents and statesmen. John Paul II, even the previous Pope. They say he was close to getting the job even back then. At the age of 76, many considered him too old, and there are questions too over his health. He lost a lung to infection as a teenager. But his compassion for the poor mixes with inflexible views on the big issues. Anti-gay marriage, abortion and contraception. Women priests not under his watch either, although none of this was a topic for tonight. From his homeland Viva el Papa! To the Eternal City.
Argentina! Argentina!
What it must be like to be in his shoes. A little more than 24 hours ago, he walked into the Sistine Chapel, a cardinal, and now he's come to that balcony, the Pope, and to be greeted by this, what must seem like all of Rome at his feet.
History didn't have a new page, it was an entire chapter. The first Latin American Pope, the first outside of Europe in 12 centuries, the first Jesuit, and the first to be called Francis.
I really know very little about this man who's been elected Pope. He's from another continent, he's another hemisphere, and yet I've got this instant love for this man who's occupying the See of Peter, the Vicar of Christ, this man that God has given us to lead us, to be our Father.
The crowded cobblestones of Rome representing the world he'll soon travel.
There's a sense of the supernatural here. There's something more than we can sort of capture with words.
Hey, look around here and don't tell me the church is irrelevant, because that is phenomenal.
The humble man, media shy and quiet, lives a simple life, no more. Denham Hitchcock, 9 News, Rome.
The appointment of Pope Francis has been warmly welcomed by Australia's Catholic community. Mark Burrows is at St Mary's Cathedral tonight. Mark?
Well, Peter, there is currently a welcome mass inside the cathedral for the new Pope. Many of those parishioners, though, are thinking that this Pope comes to the office with great expectations. How will he deal with the issue of child sexual abuse? But it's got to be said that many Catholics in Australia today really have a great sense of excitement about what this new Pope can actually deliver. From the cobblestones of St Peter's Square to St Francis Assisi School, Paddington, named for the saint who identified with the poor, a welcome for Pope Francis, or as he was known,
Mario Bergoglio.
Over the bridge at the Church of St Francis Xavier, the founding Jesuit who took Catholicism into Asia.
Finally see a Jesuit Pope. After all these years, we never thought we would see one.
Australia's 5 million Catholics have started piecing together a picture of their Pope.
He would want to be characterised by love of the poor and simplicity of life on the one hand, but missionary energy and outward thrust on the other.
Congratulations from the Prime Minister, a proud atheist.
People will be celebrating to see a Pope from what we would refer to, perhaps in historic terms, as the New World.
And from the Jesuit-trained opposition leader.
It's a great day for the world's 1.2 billion Catholics.
Victims of sexual abuse by priests believe the first act of the new Pope is to end the secrecy over child abuse.
The Royal Commission needs access to the secret Vatican abuse files.
Catholic leaders expect change of a different order.
A country like Australia would be a place that he would be aware of, so not too Eurocentric.
And as to whether a 76-year-old from Argentina can connect with the young,
a message on our phone at 6:15 in the morning, raced to the TV and watched it avidly.
Mark Burrows, 9 News.